Hey, Washington football fans. Today's video, I'm going to do our divisional power rankings, and I'm going to grade everybody's drafts and how the drafts affect the power ranking. I was watching my boy Bloodshot Sports video earlier, and he went over the divisional power rankings and gave his opinion. And he had the home team ranked third in the
Stop
division.
the cap. Stop the cap right now.
Come on, man.
No
Third
bullshit, bro.
in this division? Man, I don't see that at all. I'm going to go ahead through and grade everybody's draft, and I'm going to do them in the power ranking order. So, fourth in the division, Philadelphia Eagles. They drafted some decent players, but they're all kind of future guys that make them better later. They're to try to replace their already good players, so they didn't improve anywhere. They just kind of ensured that they might stay the same for a little longer. But first round, they take Devontae Smith, great wide receiver, going to be a great weapon, going to give us hell. That was a good pick. 37, they take Landon Dickerson, center, when Jason Kelce is probably one of the best players they have. So they take Dickerson, who's probably the best center in this draft. They take him. So I guess they can stay good at center for another 12 years. But somebody's not going to get to be used for, a couple years. So, and he had injury concerns, so that might be good for him. Then Milton Williams didn't like to pick that much. I mean, they're trying to get younger at the defensive line, which, used to be their strong point. Kind of is still their only strong point. Then back to 123, they took Zach McPherson, who I actually had in as a cornerback sleeper in one of my videos. Like, this guy is a sneaky ball hawk. Like, he's a good pick. Just two rounds too early. Like, 2 rounds too early. He was definitely a huge reach, but he does have the ability to be a ball hawk. Then at 150, they took another one of the guys I like. They took Kenneth Gainwell, running back from Memphis. So now they have a kind of Antonio Gibson type weapon. So that's going to be rough for us. Kind of upset we didn't get him. But yeah, I mean, good pick for them. Then Marlon Tiapulatu. Again, they're just trying to get younger at defensive tackle. Not doing anything to make themselves better now. I guess if they can develop these guys to eventually replace their guys, they, stay the same for longer. Teron Jackson, defensive end, I didn't think that was a good pick at all. Again, just trying to extend the shelf life on what they're already good at. And these are lower caliber players than what they already have. So I guess just youthful depth. And then 224, Jacoby Stevens, their best pick of the draft in my opinion. Just because this was my guy. Kind of upset that most of my guys, the guys I really liked, went in the division, just not to us. But yeah, they're going to play him at linebacker like I recommended he should be, and he's going to give us hell. So, I mean, good for them. It's going to piss me off every time he picks off a pass from us because I'm like, man, that should have been our guy. But, and then 234, they got Patrick Johnson. I mean, he was okay. So there's some more defensive end depth. And then the next is the shocker. Dallas Cowboys. I think they are third in the division, not first. The Dallas Cowboys. Their draft was one of the worst I've ever seen. Okay, they got Micah Parsons, which was everybody's darling at linebacker. I wasn't a fan. I thought he was overrated. I thought Zaven Collins was the real generational talent because there just aren't people like him. Micah Parsons, they come along all the time. In fact, we might have got a player that could be similar to him in one of his teammates in the 7th round just by changing them spots. We might end up with a guy like that. So, Micah Parsons, whatever. I guess maybe they're getting him while they can so that they can have people in place when Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith leave next year. So, just looking to stay the same, like I said about Philadelphia. And he had, some character concerns. And then Kelvin Joseph, I had mid-3rd round, late 3rd round, maybe 4th, early 4th. I was not a fan of Kelvin Joseph. And he had huge character red flags. I've said before, like, this guy, his situation worries me a lot because when he was at LSU, the reason, he had to transfer. He was at LSU and he got suspended from a bowl game. But at that same time, his 2 teammates got suspended too. But what they did is they went a couple states over to try to sell some kind of electronics. A guy tried to rob them for it, and in self-defense, they killed this guy. In self-defense or not, something like that usually happens, and you got to catch some kind of a suspension. Well, they didn't. They got to play. Kelvin Joseph didn't. I know he got in trouble with marijuana, but this wasn't what that was. And it just worries me. What's bad enough that you have to change schools over it and you get suspended from a bowl game when your teammates actually get into an altercation and someone dies? So I'm really worried because they never said what it was. It was violating team rules and they never said what it specifically was. There's no way I would have drafted this guy. I wouldn't have signed him undrafted. I would have stayed the hell away from him. Then Osa Digizua, decent at defensive tackle. I think there were some better players on the board. Chauncey Goldston, who I really liked as like a 6th round pick. This was a huge reach. Way to go, Dallas. Then Nashawn Wright. Find me a person that had this guy as a draftable player. Find me a guy. He's 6'4", but he's like 175 pounds or something. He's a stick. He's not good at anything. He's literally just tall. That's it. And I think us taking Ben St. Juste and some other tall cornerbacks being taken were the only reason they jumped on this guy. They're trying to implement that Seattle type defense, and they just want a tall Richard Sherman type. Well, this ain't it. This guy's garbage. They redeem themselves with the next pick. They take Jabril Cox that sat there till the 4th round. This was my second favorite linebacker in the draft, but he is bad against the run. And he slid because he just has shoulder surgery. And the fact that he slid this far, there must have really been something wrong for him to make it there. And Dallas keeps up the tradition here of, taking these guys that have some problems off the field. He's got the injury concern. And then after him, wow, Josh Ball. Talent-wise, a 7th rounder. Human being-wise, a piece of shit. Okay, this dude's got domestic violence charges. Not a good person. Not the kind of guy that Ron Rivera wouldn't even talk to this guy if he passed him in the hallway. Okay? not a good human being and not a great football player. He's just huge. That's it. And I love Marshall, okay? But this guy, I wouldn't even talk to this guy. Then the highlight of the best, I don't know, just like the best player they picked here, Simi Fehoko. Like, I love Simi. I think he's awesome. Here in the fifth, tremendous value. But they don't need wide receivers. Why bother? Like, this was a wasted pick on a great player. Like, you're just going to tie some guy up that's never going to make it to the field because, hell, you got 30 wide receivers there. These guys even took 4 more undrafted rookie free agents, wide receivers. Like, why? Why are you just stacking up all these? And they're all like the tall guys. Like, they got Simi then at 6'4", then they got TJ Vasher at 6'6". They got another guy I like that's like 6'5". I can't remember. I'm like blanking. Then they got 3 tight ends, one of them being Nick Eubanks. The things that they don't need, they're just stockpiling. I don't understand. Then Quentin Bohanna, I mean, another Kentucky player. He was okay. Defensive tackle. Decent value here. Israel Mukuamu. This would have been, I think he's the better of the long, tall corners. Like, if I was going to reach for a guy, it would have made more sense to reach for this guy that's at least a 5th or 6th rounder in most people's eyes instead of the Nashawn Wright. Like, I don't understand it at all, but hey, they got a big guy that might be half decent. And then Matt Farnock, I didn't even know who that was. Guard. Maybe he'll surprise us, but they didn't do anything to make themselves better. They basically drafted players in their best positions, except for the defensive linemen they took, and none of them were good value at the place. I don't think anything's going to help. I think their defense is still going to be awful. I think they're going to continue on the way they were with Dak before he got hurt, and that was like 1-4 or something. They weren't doing great. That mythical, great Cowboys offense is just that. It's a myth. And yeah, they're going to give the Eagles a real run for their money for the bottom of the division. I really feel that way. I'm not just saying it because I hate the Cowboys, because I hate the Eagles too. But they're going to give them a run for their money. It's going to be rough. It's going to be fun to watch as a Washington fan. And then the surprise upsweep here, we got the New York Football Giants as number 2 in the division. They could possibly go get a wild card this year. They added some really good players. There's some guys here that I love. Like I said, a lot of my guys got drafted in the division, just not to us. So Kadarius Toney's a great player, but he's not at all pro ready. Like, they're going to have to manufacture touches for this guy, but he's going to be electric. He's really going to help. When they figure out how to do that, he's going to help Danny Dimes out. So maybe it helps him out enough they keep him around for another year and we, get to exploit him. We got him. Our defense is constantly getting better. He's not going to gash us for 70 yards anymore. So that was a good pick. Azeez Ojulari, they picked him. That was a great pick too. Aaron Robinson, that was a good pick. Ellerson Smith, edge rusher, not sure on. Gary Brightwell, I had him as like a 7th round undrafted guy, but he's a strong runner. Like, I kind of liked him for us to like replace the Peyton Barber. He's like that kind of runner, but 6 rounds pretty early for that. And then Rodarius Williams, I loved Rodarius Williams. He reminded me of Carlos Rogers. Like, I really like this guy. But they're already strong there. So they're already strong there. They're already strong at running back. Azeez Ojulari upgrades the team. Aaron Robinson upgrades the team. Tony will eventually upgrade the team. So with what they already have, I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. But they're not going to surprise us again like they did last year. And number one in the division, us, the Washington football team. Why would I pick anybody else? Now, it's not just because I'm a homer, but we already had an amazing defense. We got a better quarterback. We got more wide receivers. And then, I mean, that was before the draft. And then we did the most to help the team in the draft out of anybody in our division. We had a weakness at linebacker. First round, we take the biggest athletic freak at the position, and a guy that Ron loves because of his work ethic and his character. You mix work ethic and character with the crazy physical attributes that he has with the teachers that Ron and Jack are at that particular position, that linebacker. That guy could be Defensive Rookie of the Year. We could go back-to-back Defensive Rookie of the Year. Okay? And then second round, Sam Cosmi. I thought Christian Darrisaw was going to go to the Vikings at 14. I thought Sam Cosmi was going to be off the board around 28, 29. I thought that's where he was going to go. We get lucky, and he is there at 51. I think this guy is a athletic freak. He's not as bad as some people. Like, he just needs a little refinement. Like, he's not that bad technically, and he's an athletic freak. He's got 33-inch arms. That's plenty. It's not like under 33 is where you kind of worry. But with his quickness, his athleticism, with the arms that are just long enough, he's going to be a hell of a franchise left tackle for us. He's going to be awesome. People, I don't know if it was Louis T was talking about we've been spoiled before because we'd had this and this. This guy is easily as athletic as Trent Williams. He's not as refined a player yet. And while Trent Williams, the silverback, was a freak of nature, Cosmi is the second highest RAS score at the position to enter the NFL since 1987. Okay? He's an athletic freak. He can be a beast. He just needs to polish out some things. And then our next pick was Ben St. Juste. Ben St. Juste was also one of my guys. You can go back and watch what I talked about him in a couple videos. I had him as my sleepers. I thought he was going to end up going to like the fourth round because nobody knew about him. But this guy, when he gets his hands on you, when he jams off the line, forget about it. You're not catching the ball. He's 6'3", 205 pounds. He has super quick hips. This is a guy that helps. I don't see him going to free safety. This is a guy that's going straight on the other side of the defense. It's going to be William Jackson and him shutting it down. And that'll put Kendall Fuller back in the slot where he thrives, improving the defense all the way around. Then our next pick, biggest steal of the draft, De'Ami Brown. This guy was the end of the first round wide receiver, but he kind of was still graded mostly around like the second round, like late second round. We got him with our second, third round pick, which was crazy. Like, this was Chris Sims's third best. This was his second or third best wide receiver of the draft because he was the best deep threat. The best. And he didn't do it with just speed. He's only got 4.4 speed. I mean, only. But as far as some of these guys go, he only had a 4.4 speed. But his technique, his get off, the way he changes his speed when he's running, like he does all these little things, all these like high level little things to leave people in the dust. he'll burn somebody way faster than him just because he tricks them and he knows how to play him. He knows his leverages. This steal, just all you can say is steal. Like, they've taken out a warrant for Ron Rivera's arrest because this was straight up theft. Okay, great pick. And then who was our next pick? Was it Derek Forrest? So Derek Forrest, John Bates. John Bates. I actually had John Bates going to us a round later. I had him in the tight end video. I said I actually preferred him later to taking someone like Tremble or, for God's sakes, Brevin Jordan, who was garbage earlier. I knew we needed a tight end that could block. This is a guy that can block, and then he has all kinds of upside as a tight end. He's the guy that's going to grow into something better and still be serviceable from the start. And he fills out the group. We got Logan Thomas, who's just dependable, slightly explosive, good at everything. We got Samus Reyes, who I think will contribute this year. People are talking like he's a long-term project. I don't care. He's going to be like Antonio Gates. He's going to get on the field this year, and he's going to show out. And then we have him, who's he can block and catch. I mean, he's perfect. But a little earlier, I thought, a round later. But then we get Derek Forrest, an athletic freak. At the time, I was pounding the table for Jamar Johnson, but Derek Forrest was right there for me. But I just thought Jamar Johnson was the better coverage-free safety. But I didn't know about his... If I'd have known about his police chase a couple years ago, I would have known not to even consider him because of Ron's... what's the word? I don't know. Ron's morals. I would have known that he wasn't even an option if I'd have known about that before the draft. But yeah, he took the police on the chase. He ran from the police in 2018. Sure, it's been a while ago, but we should have known Ron wasn't going to take that guy. So Derek Forrest is a no-brainer there. When you want a guy playing deep safety that can fly to wherever part of the field you need him at, can fly up to make plays on the ball. Sure, he's got some discipline problems with jumping the gun, but it's nothing we can't iron out. We'll just make it real simple for him, and I think he can get on the field this year. Forget all this core special teamer stuff. You guys got to understand, half this stuff that they're saying like that is just because they don't want a young guy to think that he's guaranteed a spot. Like, these guys are going to these spots. They're just making it sound good. You don't want a guy to stop working hard. You just do that so he pushes himself, and who's going to be back there? Troy Apke? Hell no. Who's going to be back there? DeShazier Everett? I don't think so. You got this guy that's an athletic freak. You're going to put him back there, trial by fire, see if he's better than Troy Apke was. Judging by the tape, he's tremendously better than Troy Apke was. And he's almost the same athlete. Doesn't have that little bit of extra freak with the 4.3, but he's definitely a 4.4 guy, and yeah, I think he's going to be on the starting roster. Then Cheeseman, most athletic long snapper ever. So I guess that's just what it was. They're like, hey, we got to take a long snapper to replace Sundberg. Let's take this guy that's a freak athlete, so he can long snap it and, I don't know, stand up and throw a block or something. I don't know. This guy, I mean, you got to have him, so, I mean, 6th round pick, not bad. Then they got William Bradley King. I think he makes the roster as depth at defensive end. And then Shaka Tony's my man. That's going to be our starting Sam linebacker. Everybody tried to argue with me on this. I've been saying it in comment sections since it happened. I made a video about it. Now everybody's out there saying it. Like people are out there, oh, well, this is a guy. I think he's going to be a Sam linebacker. I think, yeah. Everybody was against it until here recently, but Jack Del Rio actually came out and said it today in his interview with Julie Donaldson. They're gonna try him out at linebacker. So, yeah, kind of right about that one. And then Dax Milne was a great pick. Maybe we get. I mean, he was a sharp route runner. So, I mean, maybe he makes Adam Humphries, pointless. So, everybody that we drafted has a chance to make the team and improve the team. That is an A. I don't care. That's an A. Everybody, there's a slight reach with Bates, but if he's your tight end too, then is it a reach? If he's good enough to start tight end too, is it a reach? But anyway, yeah, the Washington football team wins the division handily this year. With everything we've done in free agency, everything we did at the draft, the team has took a tremendous step forward in talent in a division that's going to be weak. I don't care about who's got what franchise quarterback. We have one of the greatest defenses ever assembled. I have the utmost faith that these guys are going to work out. And what we already had last year is only going to mesh together better. It's only going to improve this year. So, I 100% believe we're going to destroy this division. We're going to go we're going to go into the playoffs. There's not going to be us losing out first game this year. And I mean, last year we with a guy coming off the couch, we still gave the eventual Super Bowl champions the toughest game. That's with no one decent at the linebacker position. So we've improved all that. Better at quarterback. I give our draft an A, and we're number 1 in the power rankings for our division. So yeah, if you like the video, like the video. If you want to argue with me down in the comments. Share the video. And I love you guys. Peace.